Hi, this is Steve Hosher with RazorGage, and today I'm going to talk about how to set up a picture frame equation in the AutoCalc screen. Now, what I've got in front of you here is a drawing of a typical mitered part for a picture frame. This hidden line here is the rabbet that is cut into the inside of the framing member. And I've got some dimensions. I've got 21 inches for basically what I call the rabbet length, which is the length from where this rabbet pulls out of the angle on each end. So I've got 21 inches there. And then I've got the rabbet width as 1/2 inch, which is of course the same distance length as it is in width. And then I've got the width of the material, W, which is 2 inches. The overall length, point to point, 24. So I've got some equations here to calculate if you want to enter 21 inches, or the rabbet length, and you want the razor gauge to calculate the overall length based on rabbet width and part width, then here's one way to do it. So the equation I came up with is overall length equals rabbet length plus 2 times x. So this rabbet length, 21 inches, plus 2 times this distance right here, x, which is the same as width minus rabbet width, which would be here to here. But since it's a 45, it'll be the same this way as it is this way. So we can define x, which is called out in this part of the equation here, as width minus rabbet width. That's this big W, overall width minus rabbet width, leaves us with this x. So if I replace the x in this with W minus RW, I end up with overall length equals rabbet length plus 2 times width minus rabbet width. And that equation leaves us just using rabbet length, width, and rabbet width to get the overall length. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I use that in the AutoCalc. So here is the AutoCalc screen. I'm going to click Define, and I'll click this button right here, and I'm going to just paste this formula in to save time. So in the AutoCalc screen, you're dealing with variables x and y. So x I'm going to call rabbet length, y I'm going to call material width, and the 0.5 I'm going to leave as a static dimension. And I'm going to label this frame length based on 1/2 inch rabbet. So that means this button will be dedicated to 1/2 inch rabbets, and what you'll enter is the rabbet length and the width of the material, and then it'll calculate it for any frame that's going to use a 1/2 inch rabbet. You just enter the rabbet length and the width, and you'll get the overall length. So now I'm going to browse for an image for this, and I'll use this one. So here's an image I made up showing a 1/2 inch rabbet width, and the operator can look at that and know that this button is defined for any rabbet that's 1/2 inch wide. So I'm going to save this. And so now what I will do here for x, that's rabbet length. If for the drawing example that I had before, I'm just going to look at that quick. So rabbet length is 21, overall width of the material is 2. So for x, I'm going to say 21, and this other one is 2. You can see I've already done this before. So now when I click this button with these two parameters, the part length is going to end up being 24, and the razor gauge is going to move to that position. And that's how that works. Now, to make this simpler to use, we can go to the I'm going to bring a folder over here. This is the install folder for this software. I can open up the AutoCalc INI. Now I'm going to close the RazorGage software before I do that. I'm going to open up AutoCalc INI, which looks like this. I'm going to say X label equals Rabbet length. That's the label that'll appear. And Y equals material width. So I'll close this and save it. Now I'll open that up again. Now when I go into AutoCalc, it says Rabbet length and material width. So if I put in 20 and a 2-inch material, it gives me 23. If I change the width to 1.5 and I click this, it gives me a different number. So that's one way to use the RazorGage software to calculate overall length based on rabbet width, which is something that, or rabbet length, which a lot of picture frame guys would like to do. Now, maybe I designed it this way because I assumed that the rabbet width, this 0.5 or whatever it may be, would be something that would likely be, you would have fewer of those than material widths. We could just as easily have you could enter the rabbet width up here, and each of these buttons would be based on a material width. We'd have to change the equation just a little bit. The equation would be the same, but the variables would be used in different places. So I made this assumption that the rabbet width would change less frequently than the material width. And so, say you had 10 different rabbet widths. So you could define 10 of these buttons for different widths, and each one would have a picture like this, maybe with a different number for the width. So that is my video on doing picture frames with AutoCalc in the RazorGage software. I hope it is meaningful and helps you out. Thanks a lot for listening, and have a great day.